Welcome back. We have another one today, another video. Not sure what exactly I'm going to do. I'm probably going to present a monologue. Not present, but really go into my strategy of picking apart a monologue and really getting it going. So, just for the purpose of me testing out my equipment, I have Nikon number one, Nikon number two, and obviously if you're hearing some clear quality in the audio, it's because I have my DAS cam set up. Yeah, gonna be a good one. I'll show you the steps of what it takes to prepare a monologue. In my opinion, everyone always has their different ways of going about it, depending on the actor, depending on their style of theater, but I have my own, and I'll just show you what that looks like. Quality switch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type this monologue out. Personally, it helps me with the memorization process if I actually take a monologue and I write it down. And another reason why I do it is because the way I got this monologue is off of a friend from college that I saw this monologue and I remember it being so good, and I was like, okay, I want to use this monologue. I think I'd be pretty good at it. And it's understood within the theater community to help your fellow actors. As competitive as it is, if someone were to ask you for a monologue, you would never really say, no, it's mine. You'd be like, 100%, here you go. And so that's what happened, and we're good friends too, so he really wants to help me out, and I'll help him out any way I can. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to type this monologue out, and then I'll read it out loud, and then I'll basically teach you the steps that I took in high school when it came to preparing a monologue that my teachers taught me. Okay, so I have just typed out the whole monologue, and there are some mistakes on here, but that is grammatical mistakes, as if you were going to make like a essay. But if you're writing to tell a story and you're writing someone's dialogue, it's going to be much more different. So the mistakes you see here is because it's not grammatically correct, but we're not always grammatically correct when we read, you know? So what I'll do is I'll just read this once as if we'll do something called a cold read, which we're just going to read it with really no type of context as to what's happening, and I'm just going to give it my best shot and read it right off of the page. And you'll see how difficult this is because you don't know what's going to come next, and you don't know the lines, so you can't really express yourself the way that you thought you would. Oh, and if you see, as you see here, I don't have the name of this play yet. But when I do get it, I plan on buying the play itself and reading it just to make sure that I have the right context when I deliver this monologue. That's also really important. But for now, we're just going to read it with what we have. I went out drinking one night with my friend Ethan. We'd been friends since like the 3rd grade. We got blasted, stumbled back to my place, and passed out in my bed, side by side. He never woke up. He just never woke up. They said it was alcohol poisoning, but it turned out to be hepatitis too. So, I don't know. He had started this whole heroin thing. Anyway, maybe there's something. He didn't look dead, you know? Even at the funeral with the whole high school there, he just didn't look dead. It was like at any moment he was going to wake up and tell me I was being a pussy for buying into this mourning and wearing black thing. I just wanted to get high. I feel like that was what he would have wanted. Not all this eulogizing and sober bullshit. But my parents. It was crappy. I had to pretend to be someone who was really concerned. That's not the right word. But I had to be like this adult or something. Why? You know? Why? You can't just magically stop. Ethan never fucking woke up, but it doesn't make me magically turn into someone who doesn't smoke or drink or get high anymore. I resent that shit. Like that so-called wake-up call. What the fuck? Ethan lucked out. When they put him in the ground, I knew he'd gotten away with it. He never had to grow up. That's fucked up, but I feel like, whatever. It's one of those nights, right? I feel like you get me. I feel like you get it. Look at me. I'm 29, and the only difference between me then and me now, the only change in 12 years is that I'm like taller, and that's not because I'm some loser. It's because I saw everyone scurrying off from that grave like, holy shit, we better all grow up. We better not end up like Ethan fucking Parsons. And why? For what? So there's a lot to take in with this monologue. First, you have to really read it just to see what exactly you're talking about. And this monologue is just really heavy. Like, the subject matter is really heavy, which is kind of how I do my things. I like heavy material. I like really just poking at things that you're not supposed to touch at a very, serious manner. Because there's just a way that, it connects with people, and I feel like if you get to touch people on like the most sensitive and serious of topics, you really get them to open up about everything, and I feel like it's really important. But the thing that oh, see, now I have the name of the play. Thank you, David. I love you, kid. All right. So this is from what I read. This is basically about this guy Joe, and he's lost his friend, and he has a lot of resentment toward losing him. Not because Ethan was a bad guy. They've been friends since the third grade. They straight up love each other. But you lose someone, and everyone expects you to react a certain way. Like, oh, you're not. Why do you feel like this is something you still want to do? Your friend overdosed, or not overdosed. Yeah, well, your friend died of hepatitis because he started sharing needles, and he drank himself to death. Is that what you want for yourself? And he's just like, dude, I'm still a kid at heart. I don't want to grow up. So it's a very serious subject matter. So wait, let me make sure I'm still recording. It's a very serious subject, and I just feel like you have to tackle this with a lot of precision, and you really have to dissect every last bit of grammar that was put in here. You can see that there's some commas that feel like they don't belong. That was the intention of the writer. He's putting it there so that the actor can interpret it and say, oh, there's a pause here. And there's something that's really important about pauses in theater. It's one of the most important things. So if you can get a pause, and you can get a good pause, and it leaves it leaves the audience the chance to let it sink in with them, it's really important. And yeah, so I guess I'll just go through my process of memorizing and going through this monologue now. Okay, so the one thing I really like about this monologue, other than the subject matter, is just how the dialogue itself gives you a lot to do physically. So in that first line, it even gives you an action to do along with it. It says, takes a hit. I went out drinking one night with my friend Ethan. Now, you have to... this is how the minute stuff matters when you're an actor and when you really just care about your movements and everything. That first line, I have to deliver properly. Because if I don't, I lose the attention of the audience, and I can no longer continue because I just wasted, everyone's 2 seconds. And people have such a short attention span that 2 seconds is all you need to lose somebody. So, takes a hit, and this is probably how I do it. And the next video will be me actually doing this, like my rough version, and then maybe I'll do a final version, just so you guys can see my development for this monologue. But yeah, you probably just get like, my mom would kill me if I got an e-cigarette, but I'll see what I can muster up. Just go. I went out drinking one night with my friend Ethan. And why I would choose to do it like that is because it creates suspense as to why is he talking about Ethan now? Why is he talking about this one night that, he went out drinking? And something like that is called a beat. So a beat is, more in depth, a beat is when you take a part of the script and just leave that chunk as one part. it's how we divide our scripts and our monologues, so that we can focus on one part and then connect it to the next part. And that's why we don't memorize the whole thing entirely. We memorize it by beats. Well, that's how I do it. So let's see. The way I would divide it. So from the very beginning up until, there we go, up until here, I would consider that a beat. That's one beat. And we probably have, depending on how long the monologue or the scene is, you probably have from 10 to 20 of these. But a monologue actually would only have like maybe 5 to 7, something like that. So yeah, that would be a beat, and then I would memorize that chunk. And if I had trouble doing that, I'd break it up into an even smaller beat. So I would go from here to here, and that is the beat of a beat, you know. So that is just a little moment in the script that I have to focus on, and then I will focus on the next moment. And then the second I perfect this moment, I can move on to the next, and then I will cohesively connect all of these, because what the character says before is obviously going to push what they say next, and that is obviously something that I have to take deep consideration into. So yeah, I also like how they kind of give you the ellipses here. I didn't type this exactly how it was, but I'll do that later. So anyway, maybe there's something. He didn't look dead. That right there is already giving you those pauses, and it's telling you this word's important. So before this word, there's going to be a pause. So you gotta deliver this a certain way. That's how I interpret it, at least. Some people go, anyway, maybe there's something. And then, what was that? But personally, I would look at that and I go, anyway, maybe there's something. He didn't look dead. And the pauses, the length matters too. A 2-second pause could be more impactful than a 5-second pause if that's what it calls for. And sometimes that 5 seconds of you not saying anything is something that resonates with the audience, and that 2 seconds wasn't enough. So we do this by doing that monologue over and over and over, and recording it, and also presenting it to other people and saying, hey, this is what I thought I should have done. Let me know if it was okay, and let me know if it was not. And yeah, I'm not really gonna go too into detail about all the breaks and everything, all the beats, but yeah, this is just some of the process that we have to do. The next video I do will just be a rough version of the monologue, and then I will do that, and then I will do a final version. And the final version will be a video of just the monologue, just in case anyone wants to see that, if any casting directors or anything. Remember, that's part of the reason I'm also doing this YouTube thing. So yeah, it's just stuff like that we have to do. We have to look at the dialogue, we have to look at what exactly is important, which words are important, what is hitting the character that's supposed to hit the audience as well. So yeah, I'm cutting this abruptly, but yeah, that's the video, man. I don't want to get too in-depth because it'll be like a 45-minute video, and I do not have the time for that. But this is the video. This is part of my process. If I do the rough version, I probably won't have costume, but in the final version, I might. So we'll see where this goes, and thank you guys for watching. Next video will be that rough version. Also, I am aware that the audio was kind of bad. It's clear when you hear my voice, but there's also that little thing in the background, and I don't know why that's happening, but I'm going to mess with the settings, and I will figure out how to stop that in the next video. Can't do that now because I found out after recording all of that it's really bad. So very, very sorry if that's annoying. Hang with me. I will have, I'll learn how to edit and shit. So see ya.